everybody, it's Jess and Kristen from Sweaty Ganesh.
Hey guys.
And we are here today to go through a strength and conditioning circuit designed to strengthen your outer hips and your obliques, which are part of your abdominal system. So we're going to show you three movements today. An air squat, a forward lunge, and an oblique side bend with an exercise ball. And we'll teach you how to do a circuit of reps with these to really strengthen, again, those muscles.
The squat we want to talk about today is considered a functional movement squat. This is a squat that you're going to use in everyday life, that you already do use every day, sitting down in a chair, sitting down on the toilet, and this is going to make your squat more functional. But one of the main reasons we're showing this to you is because in our last two strength and conditioning classes, we've been focusing on outer hips. So in this squat, I'm going to teach you how to feel your outer hips in a squat. So what you're going to do is start with your feet just outside your shoulders. Go ahead and face the camera. Feet just outside the shoulders, a little bit wider, and toes can point out slightly. I'm going to have Jess bring her arms up tall, right in front of her. She's going to take a big deep breath in, lift up through her rib cage, send her hips back behind her, and squat down. All right, good. Come back up. These are the basics of the squat. Go ahead and turn sideways. We'll do that again. So feet just outside the shoulders, toes pointed out slightly, arms up, lift up tall in your chest, hips go back, and she's going to squat down until her hips get below her knee crease. So we want a slight angle here with the knee going down, or the femur going down from the knee to the hip. Good, stand back up. So there's a couple things that happen in squats a lot of the times is we see people that they're not externally rotating from their hip joints, so their knees tend to come in, and we see the chest collapse forward. So we're going to talk about a couple cues to make sure that doesn't happen. So just go ahead and face the camera again, and get in your position. And I'm going to have you externally rotate your thighs from your hip joint. Okay, when she does that, I want you to watch her knees. Do that again. And you can see how her knees open up out to the side. So that's happening from her hip joint. Her whole femur's turning out. If she does that at the top of her squat, she's going to feel automatically her outer hips firing. And now as she squats down, she's going to keep that happening. So go ahead and squat down. Keep driving your hips open, almost like you're pushing into my hand. Good. And come back up. And you can see it looks like her knees are opened up a little bit. Do you feel that in your outer hips more? Good. So turn to the side and do that. And what that also does, go ahead and lift your chest up, arms up, externally rotate, send your hips back and squat. What that also does is allow space for her back to remain in a nice and neutral position. See this nice curve right here she has in her back, and her chest can be lifted. All right, come back up, Jess. Show us one squat where you're not externally rotating, and I want you to watch her back this time. So you can see almost on that, her butt almost tucked under her a little bit, and her spine is more straight, almost in a rounded position. Do one more good one. But if she externally rotates at the top, gets her hips on board, keeps her chest up and squats, then she can have a nice lifted chest, a nice neutral spine, and her hips are getting down nice and low without compromising anything in her low back. So practice that squat at home. I'm going to hand it over to Jess for lunges.
There's a couple things that can tend to happen with a forward lunge. We'll talk about those as we go. But the idea, again, is that you want to keep your hips externally rotated so that we're using these outer hip muscles and really training them up. So I'm going to have Kristen demo here just a front lunge. She's going to do it from the front, and then she's going to do it from the side. So notice a couple of things. She takes a step forward with one foot, and then she takes her whole torso straight down and bends the back leg, and then comes back up. So I'm going to do that from the side, just so they can see that from the side. So again, she takes a step, and then as she comes down, she's got two legs right here at 90 degrees, and she's coming with her body straight down and then straight back up, and then she'll step back to place. I'll do that one more time with the other side. So there, straight down, two legs 90 degrees, and then she's coming straight back up. So a couple of things that tend to go wrong with that. Oftentimes when people step forward, the knee joint collapses in. I'm going to show that real quick what that might look like. So the knee coming in like that is an indication of outer hip instability. Similar to the way we just talked about with an air squat, how the knees might come in and now we got the low back in a compromised position. So from this position, this compromises the knee joint when it comes in like that. We're also not using the appropriate muscles to hold it. So to help with that, before she goes, let's have you set up, and let's have you set up to the side. So you can see that. She's going to externally rotate her legs, just like we did for the squats. So she moves those knees out like this. She's got the outer hips turned on, and then keeping that position, now she's going to step forward again. And the knee will stay in line with about the second and third toe. And then step back, and I'm going to have you do that forward and face the camera. So again, showing that from this side, she's going to externally rotate, just like that, so you can see that motion go back to internal rotation. Good. She externally rotates, you can kind of see that. She'll step forward, the knee stays stable, it stays in line with the second and third toe, and she comes back.
Third movement we're going to go over with you is called the oblique side bend, holding an exercise ball. So I'm going to have Jess demo this first and then give you a few cues so that you can try it on your own at home. She's going to reach the ball up over her head with her feet wide and about outside of her shoulders. It's a good distance. Okay, with her ball reached up overhead, she's going to relax her neck and pull her shoulder blades down her back so she's not tense in her neck as she's reaching up. Okay, what she's going to do is squeeze the ball tight, lift tall through her torso, and then she's going to reach her ball all the way over to the right as she pushes her hips a little bit to the left, and she's also pushing her left foot into the ground. To come back up, she's going to push her left foot back into the ground, re-lift at the top, reach over to the left, shoot her hips out to the right, push into her right foot, and then lift back up by pushing into her right foot. Do one more for me. Come over this way. And she's going to be reaching long out of her right side, not collapsing into her side. Good, thank you. Come on up. Take a break for a second. So what a lot of times we see in this is people not keeping a neutral spine, and they're compensating by overextending a little bit, and they can reach a little bit further that way. Why don't you show one from the side like that?
With the spine collapsed?
With the spine collapsed, yeah. So she has no engagement in her belly, and she can still accomplish the same movement. Go ahead and pick a side, either one. And she's pretty flexible, so she can do that, but it's not necessarily a good position. So come back up, re-engage your belly, and lift up tall, reach over to the side. Much more controlled movement there. And where do you feel that when you do that, Jess?
So much more in my front. So I feel it through here and not so much in here. If you're feeling it in your back, probably some collapse happening.
Good thought. Okay, so take those three movements that we gave you, the squats, the stepping forward lunges, and the oblique side lean with the ball, and get creative with those. What we did in class this week was 3 rounds of 10 of each of those movements. So 10 squats, 10 lunges, and 10 side crunches. You could do 3 rounds of 5 of each of those movements. You could do 3 rounds of 20 of each of those movements, or you could do 6 rounds of 10 of each of those movements if you want a big challenge. So pick something that's appropriate for you. 3 rounds of 10 of each of those movements is a good place to start. And good luck, have fun, be safe.